Hi guys, Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters. So today I am doing a scrap lift of a lovely lady who shared one of her layouts on a page that I follow. It's about all I can tell you because I can't remember her name, can't remember which Facebook page, but it was her daughter's first birthday layout and it was mermaid themed. So if this rings a bell to you or if this is yours, please let me know down below because it was an awesome layout and I loved it. So I have also scrap lifted that layout. So I am currently cutting out circles using my diamond press machine. This takes me a fair while, so I don't make you sit there and watch it because I cut out a lot of circles, and I'm cutting circles to make into scallops, to be the waves that are at the beach. The lady that I scrap lift, I assumed she did them to be the scales of the mermaid tail. So the way I do it is a bit of an ombre or a balayage style where I've got darker blues, teals down the bottom, moving up to the lighter colours at the top to look like the crashing foam and waves down on the sand. So I've just cut out large circles. I can't tell you exactly what size they are because I forgot to measure, but let's say an inch. That can't be right, actually, because there's only 7 of them. So let's say 2 inches. An inch and a half. I'm going with an inch and a half. And then I put the second layer of circles down so they are halfway on top of the first layer of circles. And they're sitting in between the first layer of circles, if that makes a little bit of sense. You can obviously see what I'm doing, so maybe just don't talk and watch Jess. That might be better. The beauty of having them be full circles instead of cutting them in half or anything like that is later on when I sort of flick them up a little bit to give them a little bit of dimension, you don't see the white cardstock that I started with, which I actually like. I don't want to have too much white showing through on this layout, which is a little bit strange for me considering what my layouts usually look like, but I just thought for the look of this one that would suit better. So I think I cut out 7 circles and they fitted perfectly all the way along, and I was able to then trim as I went and use this big trim to then fill the other side, so I didn't have to cut another circle and have lots of wastage, which was really handy. It took a little bit more time trimming as I go and then putting on that next circle, but it meant everything was nice and neat early on, and I was using up all of those circles because when you're cutting them with a diamond press, it does take a little bit of time. It's super duper easy, but you know, you've got to pass the pages through. It's up to you how you do that. If you've got thick paper, you probably have to pass the pages through one at a time, but I ended up putting just this normal 12x12 cardstock thickness through about 2 or 3 bits of paper at a time. You got to use a little bit of pressure to push it through, but I was starting to get bored of cutting them one at a time. So I'm up to the last row now. As you can see, I started with the really darky blue colour and moved all the way up to the light tealy colour. And now one of the pages had like a wooden frame border on it, and I thought that could look really cool to be the sand at the top of the page. And I knew I'd be covering the top line as well, so I've made it so you can definitely see sort of the wood grain bit that I'm pretending is sand, and any of the sort of different colour or where the frame changes, that's going to be covered up by my photos. So you'll see that soon, but that's why that looks like that. This collection is mostly from Kaisercraft. It is the Udbud Dreaming collection, I do believe. Again, this was one of the Kidaholics kits that you'll see that a lot with my layouts, because now that I don't have a huge amount of time to do scrapbooking, I really restrict myself on buying anything. So I get the main kit of the Kitaholics kit once a month, and then that's all basically all I spend unless I see an absolutely amazing bargain. I try not to spend any other money or buy anything else because I just can't justify it. So I apologise if you continuously hear me saying all the time Kitaholics kits, but that is why. So I didn't like down at the very bottom that there was that little bit of white showing underneath the very bottom scallop, or the very first scallop. So I thought I'd put a new colour down underneath there, and this was like, I thought it was a nice dark colour to go along with the ombre or the balayage feel, and it was one that hadn't been used yet. So I slid that in underneath, and now I'm just flicking up the waves a bit there so that they've got a little bit of texture, which I always find amusing. I love doing that and giving it a little bit of pop, but then I put it in an album and close all the pages and it gets flattened. But, you know, it looks pretty at the time, and that's what's important. So I'm just organising the photos and the order that I want the photos in. I've got quite a few photographs for this layout. They stretch all the way across the top of the page. But I think I get a tiny bit of the way through of laying these down and think they need to be matted on something. Yeah, so I put them along there and I think, yes, I love it, but I want to mat them on something. And by doing this as well, I'm tying that blue that was down the bottom back in up the top. So I stick all the photos down onto this card stock, and then I just leave it, as you can see how perfectly they fit, which obviously I did on purpose. I just leave it so there's a little peek of it at the top and at the bottom of the photographs, and I think that just looks awesome. And then I'm almost finished. I know that sounds silly, but this page was really, really busy, so I didn't want to put too many embellishments or anything like that on to the page because I didn't want to draw the attention away from the photos or draw the attention away from the scallops. And I think it would have been really challenging for me to find embellishments that would work with this layout without going too over the top or like affecting the aesthetics. Oh, little man has just woken up from a nap. I'm not going to start this voiceover again. I'm just going to turn off his monitor and squeeze in the last little bit because he's still just sort of deciding if he's awake yet. So I chose a heading or a title in my head, and so I spent a little bit of time getting this all laid out and organised on this plastic stripping, and it says birthday at the beach, but I don't have another H. And then I think, oh, maybe I could do first birthday at the beach because this is the day of my son's first birthday. We had his party on the Saturday, but this is the Sunday, and just him and my husband and I, we went to the beach. And I asked my sister if she happened to have an H in this font, so that I didn't have to doctor a letter, and she didn't. And I decided, after thinking about it, that it actually looked a bit funny being so long and covering all the way along the bottom. I look at the video again later and I still can't decide. I think it looked good both ways, but in the end I ended up going with beach birthdays. So I stick that down and using the plastic card there to try and line it up and have it as straight as possible. Luckily, these stickers are fairly easy to move because I did have them up too high and they were cutting into the photo too much, and I thought that was covering up too much of what was happening in the photograph, so I ended up moving them quite a bit down actually. So beach birthdays, here we go. And then I think just a little bit of something, and so I just sprinkle some sequins down, and they're in all different colours of blues, sort of clear blue, dark blue, light blue, and I just think they're really cute. And so I want them to sort of fall messily all over the page, so I just glue them down basically where they sprinkled, covering up the photos when I put on some Heidi Shine, and this is the Heidi Shine in teal. again checking the bottom to make sure that all of the shiny part has been spread through, kind of like you would with nail polish, I guess. And then that's it. That's all I did for this layout. So hopefully you like it and gives you some ideas. And again, if you remember who that lovely lady was that I scrap lifted, or if that was you, please let me know in the comments down below, because I just thought her layout was amazing. And I'm sorry I can't give her more credit because I don't remember what her name is or which page it was on. But yes, hopefully you like it, and hopefully you stay tuned for more videos. Thanks very much, guys. We've got some really exciting things coming up in September, which I know is ages away, but stay tuned. Thanks.